going to cover mainly the Office 365 app management, so having devices managed by Mobiline, but having the apps managed by Intune. So this is a tie-in between Mobiline and Microsoft. There isn't actually a physical connection, it's just working in tandem with each other. And then after that, how we can control those cloud access through applications. So managed devices, managed applications, making sure that you can't just take any application and connect to your cloud resources. Should only take about 10-15 minutes, so hopefully won't bore you too much. These are some of the technologies we're going to be showing. So Mobiline, Mobiline Access, SecureAuth, Office 365, Salesforce, and Microsoft Intune. For this first one, we're just going to be showing Mobiline, Office 365, SecureAuth, and Microsoft Intune. Logically, it looks something similar to this. So Mobility, in this case, are monitoring and looking after our tier 3 data center, where we're hosting Mobiline, an App Sentry, an Email Sentry, and our SecureAuth IDP. In this corner is where we have our on-premise details. So we have an Active Directory, we have federated services with Office 365, and then we have our devices, obviously Microsoft Intune and Office 365 in the cloud. So what's going to happen? Our administrator makes the apps available to the end users once they've enrolled through Mobiline. The user opens the App Store on the device, downloads the application, and opens the application. It's asking the user to authenticate. So Office 365 knows the user is federated to their email domain and will forward them on to SecureAuth for the authentication. Once the authentication has taken place, the token is then passed back to the device and we're authenticated, and our connection to Office 365 happens. And then Intune will push down the application management policy. Pretty straightforward. So I'll show you what it looks like from an end user perspective. So we have our iPad. Okay. So we've just registered our device. As you can see, we're all connected. We've gone into the App Store and downloaded the app. I'm not going to download the app in front of you just due to time. So here's our Microsoft Word app. We're going to sign in. We're going to put in our details. And now we're going to connect to Office 365. It's going to redirect us to SecureAuth for authentication. Our SecureAuth portal. Again, just put our details in. And because this is a new device, SecureAuth doesn't know of this device, so we've been asked for our second factor of authentication. As you can see, we have quite a large number of factors. In this case, I'm just going to use a push to accept. And any second now, I will have authentication. There we go. I can now tell that somebody is trying to authenticate against my account because this device is registered with SecureAuth. It's the company Mobility. What's trying to connect? Office 365. Do I want to allow demo user 1 to access? Yes. Okay. And then back to Word. It's now asking me for my password, which is a very secure password. Please don't take note. If I've typed it in right. I haven't. Live demos. There we go. And now we're authenticated into our app. Okay. All pretty straightforward, as you would expect with ADFS or any other factor. But if we start browsing our SharePoint, and in a couple of seconds, we now get the policy from Intune. So what that means, obviously, is we're now receiving an application policy for Microsoft Intune. The Office apps are now encrypted between each other, so we have the Microsoft container, essentially. We can force a passcode on that container. we can make sure that the apps can only share, so copy and paste between Microsoft apps, or we can allow it to any other apps on the device, obviously. So click OK, it quits out, and we open up again just to show you. In my case, I've asked it to put a pin on the applications, so there we go, and we'll need to put a pin on. If we're using a device that has a fingerprint reader, which I'm not, we could then just use our thumbprint to authenticate against that. But that's also the full Office suite, so everything from Word, Excel, PowerPoint, the Outlook app. It also works with dynamic CRM, as long as it's all in the cloud. And that's the first demo. So the second one, controlling cloud access of applications. So we're going to use Mobile Iron Access to secure access to Salesforce. So everybody thinks, well, what do you mean by that? I will demonstrate momentarily. Same layout, obviously Salesforce is in the cloud, Mobile Iron Access in the cloud. What's going to happen? Administrator makes the app available. The app is downloaded through the App Store on the device. Once we open the app, we're going to open a per app VPN tunnel to the App Sentry. From there, the data is routed to Mobile Iron Access, and Access is now checking the header of that application and the device. So we've made sure that the device is in compliance, the device is registered, and the application is a trusted application. If it's not a trusted application, we don't even get a connection to Salesforce and we're blocked straight off. Once we have met all the criteria, we're then passed to Salesforce. Because it's a federated authentication, we will then be passed. In this case, we're going to be using ADFS, but Salesforce can use Secure Auth in this case, but just for demonstration purposes, we're going to be using ADFS. Once we've authenticated, we gain access to Salesforce. Pretty straightforward.
Can I ask a question?
You can.
For the ADFS, can you replace that with a different identity provider?
You can indeed.
Yeah, which ones are supported?
So at the moment it's Okta, ADFS and Ping1, I believe. So those are supported by Mobile Iron. In theory, any SAML-based provider should work. Okay, just do the demo. Our same app. What I'm going to show you is a failed authentication first. So Rocket Sales is an application that ties into Salesforce. It's a third-party application, generally untrusted. So we're going to log in. We get prompted for our authentication, normal Salesforce login, to our custom domain because we're using federated access. And there we go. So that means Access has decided we can't get through because it's an untrusted application. Even though this is a trusted device, the application hasn't been sanctioned. What does it look like on the Salesforce application that we do trust? Pretty much the same, in all honesty. Same domain, same authentication. And now we're being passed through to ADFS for authentication. So if I get my password right this time, it should be a lot smoother. And we're allowed through. As you can see in the top left hand corner, when I open that Salesforce application, the per app VPN fired automatically. So if I close the application and close the tunnel and open the application again, top left hand corner, we'll see the VPN fire up again automatically. So that means our data is now securely going through the Sentry. Right. What happens if I was to use a browser? Obviously you can't really say if that's trusted or not. We fall into the same thing as an untrusted application. So because I've authenticated, I've just clicked on the link. I have a shortcut, and because I'm authenticated, the browser is not trusted. So it's not a device trust, it's a device trust and the application trusted. And that is my very short presentation. This is what it looks like, all tied in together. If you have any questions, please do come and see me afterwards and we can have a chat.